Day 4. Going to a football match in the middle of pandemic feels like an undergoing endurance test in a reality TV show. A pre-match message instructs me to arrive at Hampden Park in Glasgow 3 hours before Scotland kick off against Czech Republic. I must wear a mask at all times. I must take in all food from my micro bag into a plastic bag provided by the stadium, and all the catering outlet would be shut. So no rancid burgers or cartons of flat Pepsi to keep me going. When I immediately turn up to the stadium 3 hours early, the crowds are predictably sparse. The pubs outside the ground overflow with supporters wrapped in Scotland flag look like a tempting eternity. But when I suggest to a steward that might go get a drink ahead of the game, a look of concern crosses her kindly face. "Be careful which pub you're going to," she says. "They will see you coming." What is she referring to? Could it be the lunch book bag for size that I'm clutching? I haven't given my spare ticket to a real Scot. My friend Alastair, he's from Edinburgh, so also not 100, also not 100% at home in Glasgow. We decide to take the advice and skip the pub. Inside the stadium, we encounter a fan in the loudest tartan suit I've ever seen, including a tiny tartan clutch bag. I pose for a photo with him and he tells me I had a tailor-made, son. It fits me like a glove. It is not just COVID regulation that make this unique and peculiar European football tournament. Euro 2020, as the UEFA still insists on calling it, has also become sucked into the culture wars. The pub outside the ground overflowed with supporters wrapped in Scotland flag looked like a tempting alternative. No, it had become sucked into the culture wars. National football teams are symbol of the nation, but that is not a straightforward task at a time when national identity is so fiercely contested. For Scotland, the pressing issue is independence. For England, it is race. The England football team has decided to take the knee before matches as a protest against racism. But each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. But each time they do it, they are booed by a significant section of their own supporters. Even the government, but each time they do it, they are booed by significant their own support. Even the government seems uncertain about how to respond. After stating for a while, Boris Johnson, Prime Minister, condemned the booing and urged fans to get behind the team. But two members of his cabinet, Jacob Rees-Mogg and Priti Patel, defended the protest. Who were visiting with Rees-Mogg suggesting that they were not expressing racism but condemning the Marxist of Black Lives Matter movement. Patel, Britain's Home Secretary, has accused players of indulging in gesturing politics. Players from the England team whose pre-game press conferences are normally confined to discussing tactics, injuries, and the atmosphere inside the camp, and now being asked to react Home Secretary. It would be natural to assume that cabinet ministers are better at politics than footballers, but the Johnson government has reason to be wary of clashing with our England team. Last year, it went down to an ignominious defeat when it took on reckless effort over the extension of free school meals for poor families. The Manchester United and England Forum mobilized a million signatures behind the petition, and forced the Johnson government to change tack. The 23-year-old Rashford preparation for June 2020 included a Zoom call with Barack Obama, while plenty of tourists are prepared to grumble about the work in Rashford. In private, none are willing to take him on in public. The culture wars of football are not just happening in Britain. When the multiracial Belgian team took the knee in Russia ahead of their opening game in the tournament, they were also booed by the crowd. Doubtless the Russians were also protesting against Marxism. Viktor Orban, Prime Minister of Hungary, one of the whole nation for Euro 2020, had defended fans who visiting team that take the knee, saying that Hungarians see the gesture as a provocation. I want Orban is himself, right-wing provocateur who has become a hero to the Trumpist right in America by issuing frequent warnings about the alleged dangers of Europe being flooded by Muslims. But even some moderate conservatives, uh, uh, but even the government, but even some moderate conservatives are uncomfortable footballers taking the knee. One prominent Tory thinker in lamented to me that football is been a political space. But now that But now the national team has become a source of division. I can see what it means. This year's tournament inevitably brings back memories of Euro '96. When England also played their games at Wembley and the whole country did seem to get behind the team in a complicated sort of way. Back then, packed stadium all joined in the singing of the Lions. Football's coming home. Now the stadiums are largely empty and some of the home crowds are actually bring the players. By somebody who has been to many England games for the over the years, I know that the idea that the team was never mixed up with politics or race is an illusion. England games have always attracted a substantial number of solid hooligans and far-right supporters, whose trademark chant is "No surrender to the RFA." At the last European Football Championship in France in 2016, the ugly tradition of England football hooliganism emerged. When I remarked to another fan that I didn't particularly enjoy being caught up in a near riot, outside of buying Marseille, I was told curtly, if you don't like it, you should stay at home and watch the game on television. And television. In television. You should watch it. Football ground in 1970 was also where I saw the most oval racing that I ever witnessed in Britain. It was routine to see black players, bark Bibles, and monkey noises. Monkey noises. The football authorities and commentators were silent about this for many years. So if the current national side feel they want to make a statement about racism, it is hard to accuse them of bringing police into a political space. The police, particularly the racial police, have always been there. The identity issues are rather different for Scotland. Euro 2020 comes as the Scottish government is ramping up demand for a second independent referendum. This is the first major international tournament the team has qualified for since 1998, neatly fitting the narrative of national revival. Arriving in Scotland for the first game of the tournament, I find the local paper full of optimism. In recognition of the enormity of the occasion, the Scottish government has even allowed schools to have lessons to allow the kids to watch the game against tax leaves. As a visiting English fan, I wonder how I feel about all this. I grew up supporting Scotland in big international tournaments. I had little option since England failed to qualify for the World Cup of 1974 and 1978. But British identity was less complicated back then. The anthem play for the Scotland side that lined up to play Brazil in 1974 was God Save the Queen, although the two recordings do not show the Scottish player looking particularly delighted. Today, the crowd and team will be belting out Flower Scotland with a stern word that we can still rise now and be the nation again. When Scotland qualified for the World Cup of when Scotland 94 and 97 qualified for World Cup in 1973, there were more than 90,000 people inside Hampden, but today, thanks to COVID, it's a little over 9,000. Far from the joyous return to the big time that has been advertised, it feels pretty bland and lonely in the stands, even if the Tartan army has been reduced to little more than a couple of battalions. They built a flaw of Scotland loud enough to drown out conversation. The team started the game with all the expected passion and streamed forward. Their captain Andy Robertson can be seen gesturing to his player to calm down then the check score, and the air is sucked out of the stadium. At halftime, we tried to choose spend the toilet next to the hand dryer. The warmest spot in Hampden, there's hopeful chatter around the urinal that Scotland might still be able to turn this round. But early in the second half, football history is made by the Czechs. Patrick Schick, the team centre forward, gets the ball on the halfway line and floats the ball over the Scottish goalkeeper into the net. It is one of the most brilliant goals any of us will ever witness. The crowd is now almost totally silent, apart from a tiny group of cheering Czechs on the other side of the stadium, and a group of children near me who continue happily shouting for Scotland, while the dirt around them was frozen in horror. After the match, Alastair reminds me that Scottish fans are used to bitter disappointment. Making the national football team a symbol of the nation is a double-edged sword. We imagine them scoring wonderful goals and celebrating with the fans. But what if your goalkeeper ends up floundering flat on his back, tangled up in the net? But Euro 2020 has already delivered humbling setbacks for two football-mad populist leaders. Orban gave permission for a capacity crowd to attend Hungary's opening games in Budapest against Portugal, only to see the national side lose 3-0. Recep Erdogan, president of Turkey, traveled to Azerbaijan and sat in a place of honor in the stand, next to Azer president From where he was able to see Turkey go down to a 2-0 defeat against Wales. England fans also have a heavy disappointing their most ardent fan. The side often portrays as the embodiment of what we like to believe are national characteristics. Courage, calmness under pressure. In fact, as a recent piece by Jonathan Leo in The Guardian pointed out, England are uniquely bad at holding a lead in a tournament. The numbers seem to suggest they might even be battlers. And that all has the French and Italians are much better at holding their nerve when they take lead. If Gareth Southgate, the England major, can somehow break this cycle and turn England into a winning outfit, it will inadvertently provide a huge boost to Johnson government. That is desperate for symbol of the success of Brexit Britain. But Southgate has subtly but unmistakably positioned himself to the left of the government taking the knee. He leads a multiracial team, has irreconcilably defended the right to make statements of subject other than football. It has become subtle wisdom in Britain that cultural wars always work better for the right than the left. But football may be an exception. All poll taken across Europe before Euro 2020 showed 54% of English football fans supported taking the knee, with 39% opposed. If the England keep winning, the number in favor may rise, along with the team's popularity. But once the right may find itself on the wrong end of culture war for the duration of Euro 2020, began with a deflating defeat. The England team disappointed their most ardent fans. Their fan almost as reliably as the Scots. Just slightly later in the day, on the other hand, this is a weird tournament. It's taking place in the middle of pandemic. The stadiums are quarter full and England are playing half decently. I am allowing myself to for the weirdest outcome of the lot, an England victory.